Hi, I'm Lisa Laflamme, and welcome to Summer Sounds. You know, most Canadians are cooped up for 6 months of the year. So when summer rolls around, they want to kick back in the sunshine and listen to some good music. Where better than a folk festival? You can spend the day or camp for the whole weekend. The idea of a folk festival conjures up scenes from the 60s, the hippies of Woodstock. But if you've never been, you may be very surprised. It's really a family event. Activities for the kids, arts and craft exhibits, workshops, and of course, the music. We're going to visit 3, all music festivals, but all with a flavor just their own. Our first stop is Owen Sound, home of the Summerfolk and Craft Festival. From there, we go to Guelph and the Hillside Folk Festival. And finally, we go to Barrie for the Mariposa Folk Festival. But before all that, there's something we should sort out. Just what exactly is folk music? To find out, we went to the experts, the musicians. Daniel Lanois is a music producer of international fame. Lately, he's begun a performing career of his own. We asked him to define folk music.
Folk music is about people, and people are changing, so folk music is going to change. One might tend to think of folk music as the banjo on the knee on the back porch, but it's not really that. It's much more than that. It's music that is passed on through families, through friends. You hear something one plays, you have your own interpretation of it, and you pass it on to somebody else. It's a very, very complex tapestry, folk music.
Ed McCurdy is a well-respected musician whose career has spanned decades and has some strong opinions to share about folk music.
Protest is not the heart of folk song. Folk song is not necessarily about protest. It was used for political reasons and always has been. But it is basically about the same thing that attracts you to me to you, because you're a female and I'm male, and that's love. And it's not just love from a man to a woman, it's from love from a man to a man, the whole relationship of human beings. And all the evil and all the good that is involved in that is there.
I think Big Bill Brunsey, who's a legendary blues singer, once said that all songs is folk songs because you never hear no horses singing them. And that's about it, really.
So folk music is as varied as the people who perform it. When we come back, we'll check out Summerfolk in Owen Sound. The shores of Georgian Bay is the setting for the Summerfolk Music and Craft Festival. Artistic director Neil Glenn tells us what makes it special.
We're trying to create an atmosphere where the minute you walk through that front gate, you're in a whole other world, another village, so to speak. And you don't have to leave until it's time to go home and sleep and come back the next day. You can feed yourself, you can go for a swim, you can do anything on this site. Created a village.
The stages, tents, and booths are all within easy walking distance of each other. The organizers have invested a lot of time in the site itself to create a perfect backdrop for an enjoyable weekend.
The Georgian Bay Folk Society has really had a group of volunteers who are very dedicated to this park, and they have worked really closely with the city in improving this park site over the years, going back to the days when they cleaned the bulrushes from around the edge of the water, right up to the construction of our main stage in the amphitheater area. Our volunteers have constructed the gazebo stage, which is in use this afternoon and is a permanent feature of this park. Many of the trees that you see around you have been planted by Summerfolk volunteers, and we're currently engaged in long-range planning for what we can do in the future to keep improving this park. We have on site this weekend someone who's giving us advice about how we can protect the environment of the park. We're really dedicated to this site, and we plan to be here for a long time. We have our main stage theater with the amphitheater seating, which I think is one of our real strengths. Again, that's another feature that we're particularly proud of. We also have 7 auxiliary stages. 3 of those will be presenting music constantly throughout Saturday and Sunday. Behind us, we have a new feature this year. We have our open stage. We've invited anyone who plays an instrument to bring it along with them, and we'll give them a forum to share their talent and their experience with us. And I'm interested that that stage has been busy all day. We're really proud of that. We have an excellent children's area with lots of different activities, crafts, t-shirt painting, story reading, and a stage that presents children's entertainment continuously. We have a refreshment area with live music, a very popular feature of the festival. We have a food services area. One of the goals that we have in setting up our food services area every year is to provide a variety. So you can get your hamburger. You can also get, if you should desire, there's a vegetarian food booth. There's frozen yogurt. There's just a little bit of everything that you'd want. Very, very popular area. And I think that we get a lot of marks for our food services area every year. We also have an acoustic tent, which I notice is also very busy this afternoon. A lot of music in there. We have a Beatles workshop that just went very well over there. We have a new stage called Traditions and Lost Arts. Our goal here was to get people involved, get them busy and participating. And our Traditions and Lost Art area is featuring things like a liars contest. This is my entry in the liars contest. And something called Folk Olympics, Folk Aerobics, which I think is kind of interesting. Things where we'd like people to feel that they can get up and join us and have some fun. So that's what we'd like. If someone leaves here and they said, gee, I had a lot of fun, then we're really happy.
Someday, another way, write it down to yourself. Hey, you look here, stop playing games with my mind. Stop calling me all the time. I know, you're just a boy who needs a toy, and I don't want to be that toy.
I think every year is a little bit different. This year is a real adventure in that I didn't know any of the performers before I came, and so it was all new, and so far it's been a great day.
Summerfolk has gained a reputation for presenting new talent. One of the reasons is Neil Glenn's philosophy.
Well, my view on so-called stars is that it would be nice if I could afford them. If I can't afford the heavyweights, so to speak, if they can come for the fee that I'm getting all the other performers at, I'll take them. But if they can't, well, we'll just hire a bunch of people and let the audience create the stars, because that's the philosophy of this festival.
Before my life is through, I wish that I could fall in love with you. I wish that I could fall in love with you. Fall
has something for everyone. The emphasis is on music, but the focus is on family.
It's wonderful. It's really neat to see all of the people just sort of lounging and really getting into the music and really just having a good time with their families. It's a cultural experience.
There are a lot of people here who are interested in music and who are interested in folk music as opposed to rock, as opposed to a lot of the other stuff that falls outside the genre of folk music. And there are people here who come year after year, see each other year after year. There's a sense of family.
In the early years, I think this festival had the 1962 Beads and Flowers and 19, image. Since then, however, most people are realizing that it is the entire event, the music, the crafts, all those things put together that create an experience that is very hard to top and seldom found anywhere else.
When we return, the Hillside Festival in Guelph. The Hillside Festival has been around since 1983. Held here on the island at Guelph Lake, the festival's small, intimate, and warm. The perfect way to spend a summer weekend.
This one is different in feel in the fact that it's so much smaller, and it feels as though it's a real community. It feels as though a lot of the people know each other and are from the locale, whereas something like the Winnipeg Folk Festival is much bigger and folk fans from everywhere will go to it. But this feels like more neighbourly, I think.
Oh, terrific. Really nice. It's got the real feel of a festival. You can see everything at a glance, and it feels really good, really wide open, and people are all friendly.
We spoke to two of the organizers, Sue Richards and Henry Kock, to discover the philosophy that creates this laid-back, comfortable atmosphere.
It's a community music festival, but there's so many other aspects of it besides music. That's why it's very definitely a community festival, and that is part of our philosophy. The community is here, they represent, each person here is a representative of the community, and that's why you don't see a lot of heavy security wandering around. We want everyone to feel that this is their festival, and it's their responsibility, and it's very delicate, this festival, and it needs respect. And the people that organize it are happy to do it as long as everyone sort of respects the whole situation.
This is a lower key sort of festival. It's a festival that is very much based on trust and good faith.
Well, we have a philosophy as Hillside to book half of our talent locally, and we want 90% of it to be Canadian. And then we have our budget to keep in mind, and then we're very interested in representing equal number of men and women and visible minorities. So I put all that in a bag and spit it out, and you end up with what we have.
Every performer has a main stage performance, and then on top of that they are required to do 1 or 2 or 3 workshop performances at either the tree stage, which is way beyond in the distance there behind those trees, a very small intimate space, very quiet stage, a place where the energies is a little lower because it's very intense here. A lot of people like a little quieter time sometimes. And then there's a more intensive workshop stage in the Brick stage. It's sponsored by Brick Breweries, and there it's a livelier, more active workshop programming for a different kind of crowd, a different component of our community.
The workshop is a concept that originated with the Mariposa Folk Festival years ago. The idea is to throw 2 singers or bands together on a stage and see what happens. It worked so well that it's now a staple at festivals across the country.
What you Canadians seem to do, which people don't do where we're from, is put musicians together. Musicians that may or may not have ever heard of each other, may or may never have played with each other, and have you interact with each other. So you get a lot of influences, you learn a lot of new music, you hear a lot of different styles, you also get to hear a lot of real fine music. We work where we work in bar circuits. Every night we're working, and when we're not working, we don't get to hear much music. You play a festival like this, and it's just music all day, and then you get to interact with the people you've heard.
Each workshop is given a specific theme, and the musicians build on that. We caught up with some members of the Jolly Beggars and Celtic Blue after their workshop entitled Music from the 18th and early 19th Century.
One of the ideas in these workshops is they get musicians together that sort of have the same frame of reference. They all jam together and see what happens. So it turns out they know a lot of songs that we know and vice versa. So worked out pretty well.
We did a lot of songs we don't know.
Yeah.
But you can also go and do a nice little workshop show over on the tree stage, which we did this morning with Faith Nolan, which was very interesting.
Because you take turns with the other performers, and sometimes you get roped into doing a song with them that you've never heard before and stuff like that, so it's really good fun.
One thing we couldn't help but notice at Hillside was the enthusiasm of the people.
The atmosphere is just, I had no idea. You know, most of these other festivals, Montreal and Kingston were downtown, so they had streets blocked off, or, you know, but you're on concrete and there's shopping, and here, I had no idea it was going to be like this, you know.
Stay with us. We'll take a look at the famous Mariposa Festival next. Now we'll take a look at the granddaddy of music festivals, Mariposa. It's a tradition in the summertime, rain or shine. People who came in the 60s are now bringing their kids, many of whom are volunteers. And it takes a small army to keep Mariposa running on key.
Well, Mariposa has a group called FOG, which is the festival organizing group, and oftentimes we are in a fog. In fact, this weekend looks like it's made for fog, but that's a group of coordinators who meet pretty regularly, twice a month, and more frequently closer to the festival. There's about 60 coordinators who belong to FOG, and for each coordinator, or each two coordinators, is an area, so totally there's about 850 volunteers on site who commit to come up for the weekend and camp, have a good time, see some music, enjoy their friends, and work about 15 hours over the course of 3 days.
Quite often, a person who's an audience member will say, well, your volunteers seem to have a really good time. Can I volunteer next year?
Well, out of the hard work, you get a certain satisfaction, you know, at the end of it, that you made it all work. You were a part of it.
That's what I really like about folk festivals, is the fact that we can participate in the way that it works, and it's not your traditional sort of atmosphere.
Under the stormy sky. Oh boy, il a vendu la taille et la vache. Danse avec moi, bébé, under the stormy sky. Jean-Paul, c'est le violon, bébé, l'accordéon. Danse avec moi, bébé, under the stormy sky. I
People have been helping out at the Mariposa Festival for a lot of years now. It's always presented top-notch performers. Bob Stevens reminisces about a spectacular night a while back.
Innes Lake also brought on one of the first major main stage evenings. We had Buddy Guy, the Staple Singers, Leonard Cohen, Joni Mitchell, Reverend Gary Davis, Buffy St. Marie, all on one bill one day. It was just an amazing night at 1967. That was one of my favorite years. It sort of sticks in my mind. Ruth Jones really thought it would be a great idea if we had a festival here in Canada. So she got together a group of people in 1960, and in 1961 they presented the first Mariposa Inter-Alia. They chose the name Mariposa because Stephen Leacock's book, Sunshine Sketches of a Little Town, the little town was Mariposa. And of course it was just sort of Aurelia, but he just called it Mariposa.
Moving its location to Toronto Island and then to Molson Park in Barrie has helped this festival survive when other festivals have faded away.
Mariposa is a good name because the festival has moved from place to place. It's a portable name. It's not like the Toronto Folk Festival or the Barrie Folk Festival. It's Mariposa, you know, it's portable. We can pick it up and move it, and we have.
Wherever it's located, you're sure to find great music. So, if you want to listen to music, dance, play a game, solve a wood puzzle, or try on some jewelry.
What do you think?
Perfect.
Mariposa, Summerfolk, and Hillside have it all.
As long as people are interested in what has gone on before, and that will always be the case, it's part of human nature. Be curious about the past. Traditional music will always live.
As long as traditional music lives, then so will folk festivals.